looks like an Eastern school. It's got ivy-covered buildings. The administration has been most cooperative, and we on our part, I hope, have acted as we should.
The city of Stockton, California, on the campus of the University of the Pacific, during the making of a motion picture. The city is also Stockton, California, which for over a generation has been a convenient site for motion picture production. Stockton is located 88 miles east of the Golden Gate, and more importantly for a film producer, 350 miles north of Hollywood. Millions of people have been able to visit Stockton through the medium of motion pictures. It is time for the police corps to take on a new temporary identity, while the logistics are coordinated by volunteers from the Chamber of Commerce. In the meantime, there is a chance to glimpse a relaxed superstar or two. A recent motion picture to be made in Stockton was Fat City, which brought to town director John Huston. The production team chose Stockton because the novel from which the film was made is about Stockton and the sport of boxing. An attraction of Stockton is the reasonably priced locations of all kinds and the availability of large crowds to serve as extras for any type of gathering. The California Department of Human Resources becomes a casting office when film companies come to town, supplying extras of any age and type. Thousands of people gathered to be in the crowd scenes for the Academy Award-winning film All the King's Men, which was shot entirely on location in Stockton during the winter of 1948. The story was about the corrupt empire of Governor Willie Stark, played by Broderick Crawford, who won an Academy Award for his performance.
This is not a time for speech-making. I should get on my knees and ask God to give me strength to carry out your will. This much I swear to you. These things you shall have. I'm going to build a hospital. The biggest that money can buy. And it will belong to you.
The countryside is relatively untouched, providing the setting for the post-Civil War adventure film Sam Whiskey. Burt Reynolds sang as he rode through the foothills.
Mary McCarty was shy as a primrose, skin was as fair as the dew of the May. And though she was tempted, she never surrendered, her virtue more often than 4 times a day. The girls in the city are skinny and pretty, girls in the country have meat on their bones. But Mary McCarty could give them all lessons in loving contortions and delicate moans. Whiskey and gin, whiskey and gin. Mary McCarty loved whiskey and...
The fight scene is not a very pleasant exercise, even for Clint Walker, who starred in Sam Whiskey, along with Burt Reynolds and Ossie Davis. 3 cameras were used at one time to avoid extra takes and too much wear and tear on the valuable actors.
Trying to trick you into a deal where you make a lot of money so you can become a rich man. Become a famous inventor. Man ought to be stomped for that. Hit me again. No, I deserve it. It don't make sense. Letting a man get away with a thing like that. Ain't no punishment bad enough for a man to pull a dirty trick like that on a friend. Well, O.W., let's go.
Film art directors appreciate the uncluttered opportunity to create mood and atmosphere and place it anywhere in the world. The magical illusion can be the sun rising above a Georgia chain gang, as in the film Cool Hand Luke.
All right. This gang been doing so good, the captain decided to give you something special. You got yourselves a whole load of touring to do. And I want to see you roll it. Pick up your shovels. You with it? Move!
Paul Newman came to Stockton to star in Cool Hand Luke. The outskirts of Stockton became the South of the 1930s. An entire prison farm was built for the film. The water is a popular attraction, and the Delta has 1,000 miles of waterways which lures enthusiasts of water skiing and speedboating, or others to the more sedate pleasure fishing, sailing, and houseboating. The San Joaquin Delta became a film site as well. It served as the lower Mississippi in the films Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn and All the King's Men. Portions of Tugboat Annie and Porgy and Bess were also shot in the Stockton waterways. Some residents of the area are fortunate to have water just off their own backyard. Freighters from all parts of the world tie up in the port of Stockton to carry the bounty of Central California's products to the outside world. A deepwater channel system connects the port with the San Francisco Bay and the Pacific Ocean.
Every smile in the world, there's someone out there crying. And each time something is born, there's something dying.
Anthony Quinn and Anne Margaret visited Stockton to star in Stanley Kramer's film RPM.
The river keeps on flowing, but we don't know what it is, and we don't know for every sunny sky is a sky that's gray with somewhere it's more funny. Still the wind keeps on blowing, and we don't know what it is, and we don't know where we're going.
All right, you guys, open up.
Good morning, President.
Mr. President to you.
Yeah, well, what are you bringing?
An open mind.
A contemporary campus power struggle was the story behind this feature film. Director Stanley Kramer has several reasons for choosing Stockton as his location.
Campus as ideal as the one at the University of the Pacific. It looks like an Eastern school. It's got ivy-covered buildings. The administration has been most cooperative, and it's been a very nice relationship, and I feel the privilege to be here.
It takes days of careful planning to create the illusion of disruption. The disruptors were local college students taking time off from class. They were aided by a handful of carefully placed professional stunt people. The charm of the exercise wears thin when the weather gets colder and the action must be repeated again and again for the benefit of the cameras. In its calmer and quieter moments, the University of the Pacific is home for 4,200 students. The Bing Crosby musical High Time used the campus as a background in 1960. The nearby Delta Community College has embarked on an $18 million construction program. Delta has become the backbone of continuing education in the San Joaquin Valley area. Many of the students who live in Stockton can count more than one motion picture appearance to their credit. The crowds took to the streets in MGM's Strawberry Statement, which was shot on location in Stockton and San Francisco. The film was based on the novel and articles written about the student takeover at Columbia University. Director Stuart Hagman went to great lengths to find a city that would permit filming of a riot.
Well, as you probably know, you probably have heard the story, we couldn't film at Columbia for obvious reasons, and we set out to film in San Francisco and found that no universities would allow us to shoot there. We did get the permission of one school, and they decided then that we were not an appropriate subject for the film. So we had to put together a campus with a number of buildings. Stockton is a city that has a great deal to offer. It has some buildings that look quite right for us, and also the people that we met in the town seemed to be quite receptive to the film.
3 nights of simulated rioting, which was the final sequence of the film, created a crisis with the local citizens, who thought the filming was getting a bit too realistic, particularly when City Hall was the building being occupied by the students. On the same location, some 20 years earlier, the climax of All the King's Men was filmed. Deadlock, a feature film produced for television, was shot in Stockton for 5 weeks in 1968. Leslie Nielsen starred as a fiery police commissioner. This time, Stockton was viewed as a troubled and grimy eastern industrial city. The police department provided a complement of off-duty personnel who were paid extras. Lamont Johnson directed.
We need for it a city that could be any industrial city in the Middle West or in the East, and curious enough, Stockton has almost everything we need. one shot on Patrick before I saw Kennedy's campaign where they were shooting down with the riverboat and the factory and the industrial look of the river. And we are using some of the older buildings, the brick buildings that they could easily be Eastern apartment buildings. And there are excellent things, as well as some very pretty parts of Stockton. We're using a lovely estate and garden party area. We're using your fountain and city square to good advantage. And it seems to have everything we need, as well as very fine people.
You're gonna get used to wearing them chains after a while, Luke. But you never stop listening to them clinking. But they're gonna remind you of what I've been saying. For your own good.
Wish you'd stop being so good to me, Captain.
Don't you ever talk that way to me. Never! Never! What we've got here is failure to communicate. Some men you just can't reach. So you get what we had here last week, which is the way he wants it. Well, he gets it. And I don't like it any more than you may.
The towering figure of John Huston became a familiar sight around town during his visit. On a day off, the Fat City crew played softball against the police department team. The heart of Stockton, much of it redeveloped, is where you will find City Hall, the Civic Auditorium, and the Public Library. The cultural diversity of Stockton abounds, an indication of Stockton's place in 19th century California history, when people came from many lands to work and settle in the rich area. Only the television series with large budgets can afford to shoot entirely on location. The broken puzzle episode of Name of the Game was shot in 2 weeks around Stockton when Gene Barry set out to uncover a corrupt governor in an anonymous southern Delta state. The smoke-filled fight ring was only one of the areas of struggle in the film Fat City. Dozens of locations were used all over town, as well as the surrounding agricultural area. Co-star Jeff Bridges explained his role in the film.
Well, it ends up with, I lose every fight in the picture except the last one, and I don't think you probably won't even see that one. But I win the last fight, and kind of ends up, oh, I don't want to tell you the ending. God, that's,
Okay,
that's no fun.
Veteran director John Huston spent 8 weeks working in Stockton.
That was good. The whole thing worked.
Filmmaking has taken me to many parts of the world, and now to Stockton, where we have just completed filming Leonard Gardner's fine novel, Fat City, starring Stacy Keach, Susan Terrell, Jeff Bridges, Candy Clark. It's always welcome to have the support and cooperation of the community where we film. We've had a great deal of help this summer in Stockton. Not only have we used hundreds of extras as spectators, but many of the important small parts in our picture have been played by local people. Probably the nicest thing I can say about Stockton is the genuine friendship we've encountered here, the ease with which I've met the people. I hope the people of Stockton enjoy seeing Fat City as much as I've enjoyed being it here.
Stockton continues to attract the filmmaker while its reputation grows as the Hollywood of the North.
Stockton.